One option when traveling in Venice is to take a water taxi. We booked one to take us from an apartment we rented close to the Rialto Bridge to the train station, where we would be continuing our journey through Italy. While it is a convenient option, since they picked us up close to the apartment and went straight to the train station, it was a bit expensive. About €160 for 4 people. At the same time, it was, as always in Venice, a scenic journey, navigating through small canals, and then into the vast Grand Canal, lined with century-old buildings and palazzos. Our trip started in these smaller canals, often called Ri, which is the plural of Rio, Italian for river. They are an essential part of this city. Venice was built on a network of islands, and over time, the Venetians transformed marshland into a city by driving wooden piles into the ground to provide a foundation. This created a network of canals, weaving around the 126 islands that make up the city. These canals act as the city's veins, connecting the various parts of Venice, facilitating the transportation of both goods and people. Initially, these canals were the only way to move from island to island, as surprisingly, there were no bridges in the city in its first 500 years. Today, there are 472 bridges throughout Venice, making it a much more walkable city. The layout of Venice was not planned in the modern sense. The canals, streets, and alleyways grew organically as the city expanded from small islands into a bustling maritime power. Historically, the canals were not just for transport. They also functioned as a sewage system. Waste from homes would flow directly into the canals, which the tides would then wash away twice a day. While modern systems have improved sanitation, the canals still play a role in Venice's unique ecosystem. The smaller canals in Venice can be quite narrow and shallow, and the bridges low to the water. As you can see, the water taxi can barely fit through some of the spaces. They were designed to accommodate smaller boats like gondolas, not the large vaporetti, water buses, or larger cargo boats that travel the Grand Canal. Some of these canals are so narrow that gondoliers can push off the walls with their hands if they need to steer or slow down. And after that short trip, navigating the small canals that spiderweb through the city, we hit the Grand Canal, Venice's main waterway. As mentioned, the apartment we rented was near the Rialto Bridge, so we got a great view of it heading out into the Grand Canal. The Rialto Bridge is one of Venice's most iconic landmarks, and the oldest of the 4 bridges that span the Grand Canal. Built between 1588 and 1591, it connects the districts of San Marco and San Polo. In the Grand Canal, we see a wider variety of boats, interspersed with the iconic Venetian gondolas. Gondolas first appeared in Venice around the 11th century, evolving from earlier, simpler boats. They were the primary mode of transportation for centuries, with thousands navigating the canals. Today, there are only around 400 gondolas left, primarily serving tourists. They're still handcrafted using traditional methods, passed down through generations of skilled artisans. We continue down the Grand Canal, admiring the amazing canal-side architecture. As we are in the Rialto, to the left, we are coming up on the Rialto Market. On the right, we pass by palazzos, alongside the Ministry for Cultural Heritage and Activities and Tourism. The architecture and buildings along the Grand Canal here are a stunning blend of Venetian Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles, showcasing Venice's rich history as a center of trade, art, and culture. As we turn around and look back from the Rialto Market, we admire the long gallery of the Fabbriche Nuove. Commissioned in the mid-16th century by the Venetian Republic, the building aimed to modernize and reorganize the Rialto market area. It replaced a chaotic jumble of old shops and warehouses with a unified and elegant design. The architecture along this part of the Grand Canal tells the story of Venice's evolution from a maritime republic to a cosmopolitan hub. Many of these buildings were homes and offices of merchants who conducted trade between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. The styles reflect the city's openness to different cultural influences, and its role as a melting pot of ideas, art, and commerce. Today, these historic buildings continue to be admired not only for their beauty, but also for their resilience, having withstood centuries of change, flooding, and wear. They serve a mix of modern purposes. Many have been converted into shops, boutiques, cafes, and restaurants, catering primarily to tourists. Others have become boutique hotels, art galleries, and exhibition spaces, allowing visitors to experience Venetian culture up close. While some buildings still function as private residences, many are now used as vacation rentals or luxury accommodations. There are also offices, professional services, and even co-working spaces in these historic buildings. On our left, we see a series of white buildings. Starting with Car Corner della Regina, the 18th century Baroque palace was built for the prominent Corner family. Today, it hosts contemporary art exhibitions. Palazzo Dona, a 14th century Gothic residence for the influential Dona family, is still a private house. And Car Pesaro, once a luxurious Baroque palace for the Pesaro family, now serves as the International Gallery of Modern Art. This Grand Canal stretches about 3.8 kilometers, 2.4 miles, in an S shape through the heart of the city. It serves as the primary route for transportation and commerce. This Grand Canal stretches about 3.8 kilometers, 2.4 miles, in an S shape through the heart of the city. It serves as the primary route for transportation and commerce. The Grand Canal is essentially Venice's main street, and instead of cars, it is bustling with vaporettos, or water buses, water taxis, delivery boats, and private boats. The city has strict regulations to manage this traffic, ensuring that the canal remains navigable and safe for everyone. As we turn to the left, we catch a glimpse of a white building with a red awning in front. That is Casino di Venezia. And here, directly to the left, we notice the striking facade of the Church of San Stay. The casino is actually the first casino in the world, and it is still in operation today. Next, up ahead, we notice Palazzo Belloni Battaglia with its two spires. The palace was built in the 16th century, around 1581, for the Bellonis, an influential Venetian noble family. It later came into the possession of the Battaglia family, hence the name. Today, the palace is often used for private events, exhibitions, and cultural activities. Next, we pass by the Museo di Storia Naturale di Venezia, also on the left. This Natural History Museum of Venice is a fascinating institution, housed in the historic Palazzo Molino Stucchi. It offers a comprehensive insight into the natural history of the region and beyond, showcasing the rich biodiversity of Italy and the world. The path of the Grand Canal is thought to trace the course of an ancient riverbed that existed before the city was even established, giving it a natural, winding route. Every September, the Grand Canal hosts the Regatta Storica, a colorful boat parade followed by rowing races. Participants wear traditional costumes, and the event celebrates Venice's historic maritime culture, drawing crowds of locals and tourists alike. On our left, we get a good look at a vaporetto, essentially a waterway bus. Vaporettos are the city's main mode of public transportation, connecting different parts of Venice, the islands in the lagoon, and the mainland. While gondolas are romantic and leisurely, they are expensive. Vaporettos, on the other hand, are quite utilitarian and a practical and affordable option for getting around. Next, on the right-hand side, we approach an impressive church and bell tower. This is the majestic Chiesa dei Santi Geremia e Lucia, famously known as the resting place of Saint Lucy, Santa Lucia, one of the most venerated saints in the Catholic tradition. The original church, dedicated to Saint Jeremiah, San Geremia, was built in the 11th century. Over the centuries, it underwent several reconstructions, with the current structure largely reflecting the 18th century Baroque renovation. The church became known as Santi Geremia e Lucia after the relics of Saint Lucy were brought there in 1861. Saint Lucy, a martyr from Sicily, is the patron saint of the blind and those with eye ailments. Although we have spent all of our time in this video on the Venetian waterways, as mentioned before, Venice is a very walkable city. This is partially due to the fact that Venice is one of the few cities in the world where cars are banned in the majority of the city, in particular the historic center. This creates the romantic atmosphere that Venice is known for. The lack of cars creates a peaceful, quieter environment, with the sound of footsteps, water lapping against the buildings, and the occasional gondolier's song. However, this unique city faces a serious challenge: it's sinking. Built on soft soil in a lagoon, Venice has been gradually subsiding for centuries, and rising sea levels due to climate change are exacerbating the problem. The city experiences frequent flooding, known as acqua alta, which disrupts daily life and damages its historic structures. Efforts are underway to protect this historic city, including the Mose Barrier System, a monumental effort to protect Venice and its lagoon from increasingly frequent and severe flooding. Mose consists of a series of giant gates that can rise from the seabed to hold back high tides. Up ahead, we see another one of the 4 bridges that cross the Grand Canal, the Ponte degli Scalzi, or Bridge of the Barefoot. The bridge gets its name from the Chiesa degli Scalzi, Church of the Barefoot Carmelites, a Baroque church just after the bridge to our right, dedicated to the Discal Carmelite order. Scalzi means barefoot in Italian, referring to the tradition of the Carmelite monks who walked without shoes as a sign of humility. Across the river is another church, the Chiesa di San Simeon Piccolo. It is located directly across from the Santa Lucia railway station, which is the destination for our water taxi ride. As such, it is one of the first buildings visitors notice as they arrive by train, thanks to its prominent green dome and unique architectural style. Despite its name, Piccolo, meaning small, it is quite impressive and easily recognizable. And with that, we are basically at the train station, passing it on our right in order to pull in and dock. As the central train station in Venice, Santa Lucia is a major hub for travelers. It serves regional, national, and international trains, with routes connecting Venice to cities like Milan, Rome, Florence, and Paris. As you can see, just outside the station, there are multiple Vaporetto stops and docks for water taxis. This allows travelers to quickly hop onto a boat and be taken to different parts of Venice. As we pull in to disembark, we turn around to get some last views of the magnificent Grand Canal and the city of Venice. We hope you have enjoyed this video and found it informative. Thanks for watching. Please like, follow, and subscribe.